Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, if you don't know me, my name's Vicki Marie. I live in Spain, in mainland Spain. It is currently 11:32 a.m. It's cold. It's only 7 degrees. We've had torrential rain last night. Those of you, my members, you know, when I went off to pick up my son from work last night, I was terrified because we'd had these massive storms. But anyway, everything was fine. The storms had finished. There was a lot of thunder and lightning. Very scary thunder. I've never heard thunder like it. It was so loud. Like when there was a clap of thunder, it's like the whole house shook. The lightning strikes were weird. The sky was purple, was lit up by lightning. I mean, it was real proper storm, but there wasn't such torrential rain. It was raining heavy, but you know, it was okay. Anyway, no floods, not here anyway. I don't know if in Valencia, where they had the floods before, or Malaga. They're warning for floods every 5 minutes at the moment, I suppose, because they were caught out last time when the floods happened and nobody was prepared for them. Now they're warning for floods, I think, just in case. Anyway, yeah, bit chilly here today. I've got a jumper on my knees just to keep me warm because I always have the doors and windows open and things for the dogs. But yeah, but it's fine. It's probably going to rain again later. Anyway, I hope you're all well wherever you are in the world. I know I have viewers from all over the world. And, which reminds me, I want to thank everybody. That's the first thing that I'm supposed to do, and I always forget. Yeah, thank you for watching, especially for this video. Thank you for caring about Sarah. Because I think Sarah's case, personally, I don't think it's had the attention that it's deserved. Some cases catch the public's attention or the mainstream media's attention. But I suppose with all the American elections and all the other shit that's going on in the world, I don't think little Sarah's case has received enough attention. So thank you for caring about justice for Sarah. Because if anyone ever deserved justice in this world, this girl does, because this was a little girl, a 10-year-old girl, an innocent girl who was beaten over 2 years, inflicted terrible injuries, and still smiling on every photo that you see of her. And eventually she just succumbed to her injuries. I can imagine Sarah just gave up. We're going to find a few more details of what actually happened on that day as I give the details of what's happened in the last few days of the trial. So I've been trying to keep up with details of this trial, let you know what's happening. Anyway, sorry, I was halfway through my thank yous. I'm so easily distracted. It's ridiculous. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Sarah. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to everybody who presses like. Please press the like button. It's free and it's a very important way to help my channel that you can do. It doesn't cost any money whatsoever. But then a special thank you, of course, to my members. We had a Carry On Chatting members live last night. It was interesting. It was fun, and we had a little dance and etc. We listened to watch my new members only video to go with that nice song that somebody's made for me. So yeah, thank you for being members. So please think about becoming a member. You can be a Carry On Chatting member for $4.99 a month. That's an exclusive live every week. Or you can be a Let's Chat member, which is only $1.99 a month. And that is every 2 weeks. We have a live on a Thursday. We've got one coming up this week, tomorrow. Members live, Let's Chat and Carry On Chatting. So think about becoming a member. Nightbot will be on later to tell you how to become a member. Right, what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, and thank you for everyone who sent me a super chat or bought me a Ko-fi. You can also, or sent me a super sticker. Any way you've supported my channel, I really appreciate it, because not only me, but content creators, they need support. Okay, so let's talk about Sarah. Let's take off this banner. So, for anyone who maybe doesn't know about the case, I'm going to come and say hello to you all in a moment. I'll just lay the groundwork of what's happening with this case. So, this is little Sarah Sharif, 10 years old. Then one day, her dad, Urfan, he was in Pakistan. He phoned the police, said that Sarah was dead at home in their house in Surrey, said he'd killed her by accident. He was legally punishing her. That's the expression he used there. What legal punishment involves killing someone? I'm not really sure. Anyway, but this is what he confessed to on the phone. He legally punished her and he went too far and she was dead and she was at home. So what they did, him and his wife, Sarah's stepmother, beinas, that's her in the middle, and this is Urfan's brother, Faisal. So the three of them got on a plane with the rest of the children. There's another 5 children. And went off to Islamabad or wherever in Pakistan. And it wasn't until they arrived safely there that he phoned the police to say what happened to Sarah. The police went into the home. We've watched that video, of a very eerie video of the police going into the house and finding Sarah. She was upstairs in bed in her little pajamas, deceased, alone. So she'd just been left there. Anyway, after a bit of a to-do, etc., they all came back. They returned from Islamabad, but they left the children in Pakistan. They came back, were arrested immediately that they landed at Gatwick Airport, and now the trial is happening. So all this happened in August. I think it was August last year. But anyway, where we are now is the trial is being held at the Old Bailey. And predictably, I do think, like the uncle, he probably hasn't got much to do with it, except he probably knew what was going on. But it seems likely that maybe they've all been charged with the same thing, but it seems likely that maybe he will get off. Maybe he wasn't involved in the beatings, etc., whatever led to the eventual death of Sarah. She had countless injuries. She had burns. She had bite marks, going back over 2 years. So whatever, she had a catalogue of abuse over 2 years, this poor girl. Now, beinas and Urfan, they're predictably blaming each other. So although Urfan originally confessed to the police, said that he did it, it was a mistake, he went too far, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Now it's come to the trial. He's taking all that back and saying it was beinas that did it. Personally, I think they both did it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they both were just as bad as each other. And I hope they both get the same, punishment, get found guilty and get the life imprisonment, because I think they both did it personally. But they're blaming each other. So they've all got a different solicitor. They've all got a different defence solicitor. Urfan's got his, beinas has got hers, and Faisal has got his. So they're all really in competition with each other. Who's the biggest twonk, isn't it? Who's the biggest twonk? And we're going to look at the latest in the trial. This is Sara Sharif's biological mother, Olga. She's Polish. She's testified in the trial. She had to identify her daughter. For some weird reason, Urfan, let's have a picture of him on his own. He got custody of Sarah, even though he already had I blame the social services. I'm sorry as well. I think they've got a big part to play here. Why that girl was ever given custody, why this man was ever given custody of Sarah, I don't know, because he already had domestic abuse accusations, etc. You know, why did he get custody of Sarah? And Olga got visitation rights. He obviously convinced the courts that Olga was a terrible mother or whatever, and she did get visitation rights, but apparently Urfan made it so difficult. And don't forget, he was an abuser and a coercive controller. So in the end, I think Olga sort of gave up, if you like. Just got too difficult to see Sarah. And then the next time she saw this poor little girl was when she had to identify her. And she didn't recognise her because she was so battered and her face was so swollen. She could hardly recognise her own daughter. Because what they'd started doing as well, they'd started dressing Sarah in a hijab, whereas Sarah, none of the family wore a hijab normally, but they started dressing Sarah in a hijab probably to cover up the injuries that she had. Then they took her out of school and started homeschooling her because they said she was being bullied at school. I mean, my God, the irony. They said she was being bullied at school. Meanwhile, they're torturing her at home. She would have been better off being bullied at school, wouldn't she? You know, a few names or whatever. But what she was actually getting at home was physical abuse, and a lot of it. So that's the situation going into the trial. Urfan, after originally confessing to Sarah's murder, now he's decided wasn't him. It was Beinas. She's saying, of course, it was him. And this is where we are. This is where we are, and this is what we're going to talk about. This is Beinas as she was arrested. She's a lot younger than Urfan, and a lot's been made of that Beinas was chosen by Urfan because she was younger, because she was easier to control, because apparently she was a vulnerable person because she'd been a victim of honour. What would they call it? Honour bullying, if you like, or honour in her family. She'd been a victim of honour victimisation, and she was in a home. You know, she was in like foster care. And then, so Urfan he's 10 years older than her. They met when she was only 20. And now what her defence is saying is that Urfan picked her because she was vulnerable and he knew he could control her easily. Whereas Urfan's defence are saying that Beinas is the controller, the abuser. And the truth probably is that both of them were, because Sarah's bite marks that she had on her, both Urfan and Faisal, the uncle, have had dental impressions made, and it's been proven that they did not do the bite marks. But Beinas, she has refused to do dental impressions. Well, that tells you everything you need to know. And also, I want to know, how can she refuse? You know, she shouldn't be allowed to refuse to give dental impressions. You know, she's been charged with the murder of a 10-year-old girl that's got bite marks on her. She should be made to give those dentist impressions. You know, how dare she say she's not giving them? I mean, it is a confession of guilt in itself, isn't it? If someone asks you to give dental impressions and you haven't bitten someone, you're just going to give them, aren't you? You're going to want to be cleared. She refused to give them. So it says a lot. Okay, let's say hello to everyone. There's a lot of comments there. You're all having a chat. It's nice to see you all here. Thank you so much for being here. So, hi, Chumba. Hi, Annie. Hi, Heather. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Annie. Hi, Kelly. Oh, you're having a good chat here. Like, I'm going giddy going down. Hi, Tracy. Woof. Right, hang on. I'm scrolling down. If I miss anyone, I'm sorry. Hi, Laurie. No, that's the members' song, Heather. That's only for members. The members will hear it tomorrow night. Tracy. Hi, Charlotte. I'm getting down there. I am getting down there. I'm going dizzy with that. There you go. Okay, so right, so let's catch up from where we left off in the trial. Now, more or less, we'd got to, I think, the point that Beinas was giving her evidence, saying that, or giving some evidence saying that it was him who was the controlling one. Now, in the last couple of days, Urfan has had the opportunity to speak. And listen, I'm just warning you now, not only it's upsetting, obviously, knowing what happened to Sara, but you're going to get angry with Urfan because, you know, he's just, oh my God, just unbelievable, the things he says. So we're going to start by looking at, I found this really good, as I was putting it all together, and then the Guildford Dragon newspaper has been doing like every day a summary of what's happened in court, which is very, very useful. So I think we'd got as far as we did hear some, we did hear testimony of the neighbours. And we're going to start. I think the last video that I did was probably last Wednesday or something like that. But I'm going to start from the testimony from Thursday, October the 24th. And this is neighbours' testimony. So let me just make sure that you can see it. Oh, that needs to be different from that, doesn't it? Hang on. Need to be able to see that. Got all these different layouts. I don't know which is the best one. Because for some strange reason, people like to see me as well. I'm not really sure why, but anyway. So I've put it so that you should be able to read it. I'm reading it out to you anyway, but some people like to read it themselves as well. So just have a little drink of milk. I'm on milk today. Okay, so this is the summary from Thursday, October the 24th. The court continued to hear evidence from neighbours of the Sharif family. Judith Lozeran, who was a neighbour in Hammond Road, told the court the children were always quite nice and clean and quite smart, and that they seemed like a family unit and appeared to be caring parents. But she went on to say she didn't see Sara nearly as much as the others. She told the court that Sara was never smiling and described a separateness from Sara and the rest of the family. Mrs. Lozeran said she saw Faisal Malik fairly often, but that Urfan Sharif had denied that Faisal lived in the house when he was asked. That's strange, isn't it? So when he was asked, he said he didn't live there. Probably to do with his housing benefit or something. Though he was working as a taxi driver, I don't know whether they were on benefits or not. She told the court she was aware Sara was being homeschooled, and she was told it was because Sara had been bullied because of her high hijab. Sara, the former neighbour, said, always wore a hijab, and the only person in the family who did. So she was the only person in the family that wore one, and she couldn't really see properly what she looked like. So then she was cross-examined by Baynash's counsel, Caroline Carberry, and she talked about Beinas being a caring mother with her hands full, and asked her to describe an incident where she felt Urfan Sharif had been belittling towards Beinas. She was also cross-examined by Faisal Malik's counsel, Michael Ivers, about how often she saw Faisal, which she said wasn't very often. Evidence was also provided by Fatima Chowdhury, a learning support assistant at St Mary's Primary School in Byfleet. She described an incident where she heard beinas Batul shout abuse at two of Sarah's younger siblings who were being slow while coming into school. Miss Chowdhury made an entry into the Child Protection Online Monitoring System about this. So this teacher had actually heard beinas shout abuse at two of Sarah's siblings. Now, I think, although I don't think the other children received the same amount of abuse as Sarah, I think that's exactly the reason why they got those children off to Pakistan. They didn't bring the children back with them. The other children are still in Pakistan. I expect they've had a bit of abuse as well. I think Sarah got the worst of it. And I think Sarah got the worst of it. There's something about the anger that they felt towards Olga, as Sarah's mother. I think that's why Sarah got the worst of it. Maybe Sarah reminded beinas and Urfan of Olga. You know, there's like this jealousy there, maybe. I don't know. But there's why was Sarah such, such a focus point of their anger and abuse? But I don't think the other children will have escaped it, but just Sarah seemed to be the focus of it, for whatever reason. Miss Chowdhury was cross-examined by beinas Batul's barrister, Thomas McGarvey, who asked questions about the incident. Miss Chowdhury confirmed she had spoken to the head teacher about the incident, and on another occasion, after her brother Usman, a parent at the school, had mentioned concerns about beinas Batul. So there had been concerns raised. Nothing's ever done, is it? You get all concerns raised. Why is nothing ever done? Why was this man allowed to have custody of Sarah? Anyway, Miss Chowdhury said that beinas Batul and Urfan Sharif had met with the head teacher, and they both appeared upset when the language was raised. During cross-examination, Mr. Chowdhury described beinas's behaviour as more than a struggle. It was very aggressive behaviour. So there'd actually been witnessed. Now, you can bet that whatever abuse is seen outside the home, it's a million times worse inside the home. I've got a student at the moment who noticed someone he knows being nasty to their dog. And I said to him, well, if they're doing that to their dog in front of you, imagine what they're doing to their dog, when you're not there. It's always going to be worse, isn't it? And anyway, did report it to the police, but that's a whole nother story. So they also heard evidence from Helen Simmons, Sarah's year 4 and 5 teacher. She described Sarah as essentially a happy child, often bubbly. At times she could be sassy. How she managed to be sassy after all that abuse she suffered, I don't know. She said she could be very spirited and bold and fierce with what she wanted to say, and that she sometimes displayed attention-seeking behaviour. That little girl was crying out for attention. Anyway, in year 4, after the summer half term, she received an email to say Sarah would be homeschooled because they were concerned about her progress and her friends. She did return in year 5, but on the 17th of April 2023, Urfan Sharif sent an email saying Sarah would again be homeschooled. So Sarah was still seen at the school when beinas dropped off her younger siblings, but wasn't seen when after the family moved house and took a taxi to travel to school. March the 10th, she saw a bruise on the underside of Sarah's chin and cheek that didn't appear to look fresh. She said Sarah had given conflicting answers as to where this had come from, and this was referred to the designated safeguarding lead, and a social services referral was made by the school, so she had been reported. beinas Batul on March the 28th told Miss Simmons that Sarah had a bruise on her cheek that was made by a pen. This again was referred. And during cross-examination, by Beinas Batul's counsel, Miss Simmons said that the school had reported to Sarah's parents that Sarah's hijab had been pulled down by another child. And Miss Simmons also agreed that the reported pen mark did not look like one. So that was the testimony on Thursday, October the 24th. We're going to have a look now. I'm just going to come back to chat, make sure you're all okay. We're going to have a look at what happened on Friday. Yeah, you're all fine. Muy bien. Has Nightbot not appeared yet? Nightbot will be here soon. Okay. So that was Thursday. Then on Friday, Friday, October the 25th. Actually, that wasn't last Friday, was it? Oh, maybe I've gone back too far. Yeah, because we have seen that about the scream. Thursday, October. Let's go to Thursday, October the 31st. Surrey Police investigating officer Leanne Sherwood presented CCTV footage gathered as part of the investigation. This included footage from the co-op in Horsell High Street, which showed Urfan Sharif entering and leaving the shop on the evening of August the 8th, the day that Sarah died. Video recordings, we watched these video recordings, showed the family leaving their home in Hammond Road on August the 9th, arriving at Heathrow car park and going through departures. And then we listened to the 999 call, didn't we? There was some texts went between Beinas and her sister, where Beinas was accusing Urfan of being controlling, etc. And they heard about all those, the conversations between Batul and her sister. And these conversations detail marital difficulties between Batul and Urfan Sharif, as well as allegations that Sharif physically abused Sarah. Then we looked, Friday, November the 1st. God, what date? I've lost the days. Yeah, we looked at those. We want to look at what? Yeah, we looked at the thing where they said they thought a cricket bat had been used. A cricket bat. The iron. She'd been burnt by the iron. Right, let's go to this. So when the father started giving evidence. So taking the stand, Urfan Sharif said he was 42. He was born and had lived in Pakistan before he came to the UK in September 2003 to progress his education. He described his employment working first at Burger King, then McDonald's, before becoming a full-time taxi driver in 2011. He admitted that he had to leave McDonald's because he stole £1,700 from them. So not only is a child beater, a womanizer, if you believe his ex-girlfriends, he's an rapist, he's, child beater, what else? Not only all that, he stole £1,700 from McDonald's, and that's why he had to leave. So how did he get custody of this child? How did he get custody of this child with the history that he's got? Honest to God, this is just completely beyond me. I'm speechless. So he denied he was responsible for Sarah's death. He denied biting her, burning her, beating her with a cricket bat, and beating her with a white pole. He told the court he met Olga, that's Sarah's mum, online. They married in 2009. Their son was born in 2010 and Sarah in January 2013. They were together for 6 years and they broke up in 2015. Following allegations from Olga of domestic violence, coercive and controlling behaviour and child abuse, Sara and her brother were put into Olga's care in 2015. So they were in Olga's care initially. How did this change? Anyway, Sharif met beinas Batul in 2014. She was 20, he was 30. She moved in with him in May 2015 and they got married in August 2018. So in 2019, he said that Sara and her brother told him they were being abused by their mother, which he reported to the social services. And now, don't forget, this is what he says, so we don't know that this is true. Sharif was awarded custody of the two children in October 2019. He then said that he'd wanted to leave beinas on many occasions, that she had beaten him. So Urfan is saying that beinas has beaten him. One time he had to go to hospital because of it, but he chose to stay with her for the sake of their children. And in response to the text messages between beinas and her sister, Urfan said she was not being controlled by him at all. He didn't care about money and she was able to do whatever she wanted. Well, if he didn't care about money, I'm not sure then why he stole £1,600 from McDonald's, are you? Okay, so Urfan Sharif's barrister said he's been painted as the villain of the piece, but that he would take the longest walk of his life to the witness box and provide the context to everything the jury had heard so far. He said that Urfan would talk about his relationship with Sara's mother, Olga, the breakup that followed, the allegations and counter-allegations, and his successful battle to be awarded custody of Sara and her brother. Them kids didn't stand a chance, did they really? He said that Sharif was the sole breadwinner in the household and out of the house for significant periods of time. He didn't know what was going on, apparently. And he was always told when there was a visible bruise on Sara, one of her siblings was responsible. Oh, wait till you hear this. This is the other thing now that they're saying, that it was not beinas, not Urfan. It was one of the other children who did it. Anyway, so Mr. Mian told the court that on August the 8th, beinas had instructed Sharif to come home, where he found Sara limp, and he was told that her older brother was responsible. beinas told Sharif that Sara's brother would go to prison for this and that her children weren't going into care because of what the children had done. And she explained that the barrister explained they decided to go to Pakistan due to concerns that the children would be taken into care. The best place for those children would be in care. And he also outlined the fact that of all the defendants, the only one to refuse to provide a dental impression was Batul. And I do think that that is important. So I don't think he wasn't the one who bit her. He might have done all the other things, but he didn't bite her. So I'm going to go to last Wednesday. I'll just come back and just check again. Yeah, so he continued to give evidence on Wednesday, and he says that nothing ever happened when he was at home with the children. Whenever Sara was injured, beinas always blamed Sara for how these injuries occurred because she was fighting with her brother. So now the brother, so it's like everybody did it except him, isn't it? I'm surprised they haven't said that the uncle did it. Anyway, Sharif claimed that beinas never allowed him to speak to Sara to find out what was going on. as if she could stop him talking to Sarah if he wanted to. So 2 video clips were shown of Urfan and Beinas arguing, one filmed in a bedroom in 2016 and one in the kitchen in 2019. In both cases, he claimed she wouldn't let him leave and he had to climb out of the window to leave the house, which he did. That was shown on the video, to be fair. He did climb out the window. So he's blaming Beinas for everything. So let's go to let's see. So Thursday's testimony, he said that as a taxi driver, he worked 7 days a week, 14 to 15 hours a day. So he was hardly ever at home. So this is his claim, is that he was never at home. So it was Beinas who did it, and she would often tell him that it was the other children that did it. Sorry, I just had a message. I've got to have a little look at it. Yeah, so, you know, I'm hoping that both of these, both Urfan and Beinas, are going to be found equally guilty. That's really the only way this can go, I think, because I don't think they'll be able to prove conclusively it was only Urfan who did it, and I don't think they'll be able to prove conclusively it was only Beinas who did it. So surely the 2 of them are going to be found guilty. I think Faisal is not going to maybe be found guilty of anything, the uncle. I mean, he's guilty of maybe knowing what was going on, but it seems unlikely that he actually did anything to Sarah. But we'll see. He's not given his evidence yet. So typically, Urfan said he would leave between 6 and 7 a.m. for airport drop-offs and pickups for established customers. And he also said that spoke about the ordering and delivery of the packing tape. There were these masks found with packing tape on them. And he told the court he never used his Amazon account. He wouldn't have been at home at the time the tape was delivered, and he wouldn't have opened the parcel because he didn't order it. He did say that he had slapped Sarah multiple times because I was made to. So he said when he slapped Sarah, it was Beinas who made him do it. He also suggested that his wife told him that Sarah hit the other children. So they were all hitting each other. You know, it's like, I mean, it may well be that the children hit each other because look what they were watching. You know, they think that was normal behaviour to go around slapping people and hitting them with a cricket bat and burning them with an iron and biting them. Good God. He said that Beinas always accused Sarah of acting out and hurting the other children. And he pointed at her and said, I was accused by that psycho sitting there. Urfan, so now Beinas now is a psycho. He fled to Pakistan with her, you know, and now she's a psycho. Sharif denied biting Sarah and stated he had provided his dental impressions for comparison. I do think that there's one thing that he's saying that is true. He did not bite Sarah. He described how Sarah was bitten like an animal on the arm and stated he didn't do it. He pointed towards Beinas, and then the defence counsel pointed out she had refused to give her dental impressions. He said he didn't bathe any of the children. He was also asked about Sarah wearing a nappy at 10. And he said that he was made aware of this at the end of July 2023. He said Beinas had told him that the reason for this was she couldn't control her bladder. She had wet herself a few times, and that girls' bodies change when they're growing up, and it's normal for them not to be able to control their bladders. What? Oh my God, this is what I mean. This case just gets worse and worse. So Sharif was asked about the iron and whether he had burnt Sarah. He told the court he didn't burn her. He had never ironed, and that Batul did the ironing at home. Now, I mean, we don't know for sure, but I think Beinas probably burnt her with the iron as well. You can imagine Beinas would be ironing. Sara maybe, got on her nerves for whatever reason, and she's burnt her, bitten her. I do believe Urfan there. I don't believe that he burnt her with the iron. I do think that was probably Beinas. And when he was asked about the witnesses who had observed Sara doing household chores and whether she did the ironing, he replied she was too young for that. And when he was asked if she could have just sat on the iron, Sharif replied, "No, sir." Well, do you know what? You know what I can imagine happening? They're probably saying to Beinas has probably been making Sara do the ironing. And then Sara, only being 10, she probably not done it very well. And Beinas will have got angry and burnt her with the iron. I can just see that happening. It'd be like, yeah, no, you do the ironing. Oh, you're not doing it right. Get the iron and burn her. Beinas, I do believe Urfan there. I think it was probably Beinas who burnt her with the iron. It was Beinas who bit her. But that doesn't mean to say that Urfan didn't do things either. Yeah, I get that impression, Laurie, that this stepmother, I think she hated Sara because she was Olga's daughter. Maybe she was a bit jealous of Olga. I keep saying, and I still think, Olga's like the key to this hatred of Sara. It's like she probably, Beinas, maybe Urfan still carried a bit of a torch for Olga, and she didn't like that. So Sharif was asked to recount an incident in June or July 2023 when he saw the packing tape being used. He said he went home in the evening for dinner before a late job, but he wasn't expected home. He said he found Sara stood in the TV room with her arms bound behind her back with packing tape. He said Batul was also present and appeared shocked he was there. Sara was terrified, and he had cut the packing tape off her with a knife. He said he had screamed at Beinas and that she said Sara had been naughty, so she had tied her hands so she couldn't hurt the children. Oh my effing God, it's a good job nobody tied her hands, isn't it? Well, sorry, it's a shame nobody tied her hands. I think that might be true as well. I think some of it is true what he's saying, but I think he also abused Sara. And when he was asked why he didn't call the police, he said, "I was stupid." And when he was asked why he didn't ask Beinas to leave, he said, "She's very manipulative and I always believed her." But, his fingerprints. So Mr. Meehan reviewed the forensic summary covering the carrier bag with blood in it. They put carrier bag over her face, and the tape with Sara's DNA profile with fingerprint details matching to Sharif found on the non-sticky side of the tape and on the bag. Oh, so he has handled the tape. He said it was a shopping bag he'd removed from the recycling bin to the rubbish bin, and he was shocked that his fingerprints were on it. Oh my God, he's such a liar, isn't he? So on that fateful day, Tuesday the 8th of August, he told the court he and Batul had taken their younger son to Maybury surgery for his immunisations. Sharif said he then had a pick-up in New Hall at 9:30. At 9:59 a.m, he took a £70 fare from his customer at Heathrow Terminal 3. He went home. He was there for the afternoon to sleep. And he described seeing Sara in the kitchen washing something at the sink. He went up to bed and woke up at 5:30. And he said that was the last time he kissed Sara. He accepted a fare via WhatsApp from a customer who wanted to collect him from Woking Station. And at 6:24, his taxi left Horsell. At 7:04, Beinas tried to call him, but he couldn't answer because he was dropping off a customer. And he said she made several calls due to a bad signal, and she told him that Sara and the older brother were being really bad and asked him to come home. He asked her to put them on the phone so he could try and speak to them, but she just told him to come home. There was nothing unusual about their conversation, and he stopped at the co-op on the way home. He said he couldn't remember why he went there, maybe for cigarettes or vapes, and he probably paid in cash. So that was the day that Sara died. So what does he go on to say after that? So what was the Friday? So he gave his final part of evidence last Friday, and he said he arrived home to find Sara lying with her head in Beinash's lap. She told him that Sara had been playing with one of her siblings and fallen down the stairs. In Beinash's words, Sara was being dramatic and won't get up. Now, this is really quite sad because this is how he's now going to tell us how Sara died or how it happened. So just a warning, because it is very, very upsetting. So he told the court, Sara said she was thirsty and sleepy. One of the children went to get water for Sara, but she didn't drink it. Sharif stated that he then laid Sara on the bed, but Batul told him to put her on the floor. He shouted for someone to call an ambulance and perform CPR on Sara for 10 minutes, whilst Beinash was shouting, wake her up, she cannot die. Not because she cared about Sara dying, but do you know what? Because she cared that would mean she was going to go to prison for killing her. Right, just as I'm reading this, I'm going to put Sara's picture up. Hi, Julie. Need to put Sara's picture up for this. So this is what this little girl went through. So warning. Sharif then described how Beinash told him to stop doing CPR. When he took his phone from his pocket, he says Beinash took it off him and said she would tell Faisal Malik what happened. Beinash urged Sharif to think about the other children. He had closed Sara's eyes, picked her up, hugged her and kissed her. Sharif explained how Batul had told him it was one of the children's fault. So now it's the children's fault. Warning the police would put him in prison and take away the other children. Sharif told the court that Beinash then made 30 phone calls to the family. Sharif told Batul to go and be with her family and take the other children, stating he was going to say Sara died in his care. But Batul's family was scared and would not help. He said he then took Sara to the bathroom so he could clean her in line with Muslim customs. Would you know, it's a shame he didn't respect other Muslim customers, like not killing your fucking children. He asked Batul about marks to Sara's neck, but Batul would not let him remove Sara's top. Instead, Sharif washed Sara's hair and face and then took her to the bedroom wrapped in a towel. Batul, he said, then gave him a second explanation for Sara's injuries, which differed from the first and involved a fight between Sara and one of her siblings. God, I just can't believe how now they're even blaming the children. The children that they've whisked off to Pakistan, they can't be interviewed. Terrible. They're disgusting people. Oh my God, so disgusting. They're the lowest of the low, the worst of the worst, Obviously, talking about true crime, there's always a twonk that you're talking about, at least one. But these are the lowest people of all, because they're supposed to be the parents, they're supposed to be the caregivers. You know, it's just terrible. And he is the biological father of Sara. Sharif told the court he moved Sara into another room, at which point he described Beinas dragging him out of the room, urging him to go outside, which he did. Mr. Mian asked Sharif if he had thought about calling the police. He said he had, but he didn't want to. He didn't because he was thinking how that would affect his other children. Sharif told the jury it was Batul's idea to go to Pakistan as a family to sort out schooling arrangements for their children. Sharif booked a one-way ticket as they did not know how long this would take. They only came back from Pakistan because their family just got fed up of their houses being raided. Off they went to Pakistan with the children, and they were staying with family and coming up with all cock and bull stories. And in the end, their families' houses were being raided so often by the police. Good for the Pakistan police, because we don't have an extradition treaty with Pakistan. So they couldn't be extradited from Pakistan. But the Pakistan police, at least they would go making their families' lives such a misery that in the end, the family wouldn't help them anymore. That's the only reason they came back to the UK, is because they were persona non grata in Pakistan. You know, the family said to them, look, we're sick of it. You know, you've got to go back and face the music. So after the flights were booked, Sharif and Batul discussed who should take the blame for Sara's death to protect the child. Batul said he had injured Sara. To protect the child, that Batul said he had injured Sara. So now that what he's basically saying is, as far as Beinas said, not only it wasn't Urfan, it wasn't Beinas, it was another one of the children who did it. Beinas researched the difference between murder and manslaughter. Oh my God. And told Beinas he should take the blame, as he would only get 3 to 5 years in prison, of which he would serve half. Oh God. I've got this cold anger. The anger that I've got in me at the moment, I'm not going to start ranting and raving and swearing. It's a cold rage that I'm feeling inside. I just hope justice is, please God, let the jury see through all this shite. So Sharif told the court he wrote the note left with Sara, but though the writing was his, the words were from Batul. And he described the point at which they left Sara. So they left that little girl in her pajamas, dead in bed, alone. And he described the point in which they left her, during which he, Beinas and Malik hugged and kissed Sara. Beinas apologised to Sara multiple times and cried. He did not tell his other children what happened to Sara. Prior to leaving the house, Sharif told the court he removed the Ring doorbell so there was no evidence to contradict his story. He put the keys under the mat and moved his taxi so the emergency services could easily access the property. Oh, what a nice man. Oh my God, are we supposed to think, oh, well, that's okay, murdered his daughter and left her there alone, without... left that little girl in her pajamas dead in bed. But that's okay because he put the keys under the mat and he moved his taxi. So he's a good person, really. When they arrived in Pakistan, Sharif said they told their family Sara was seriously injured after falling down the stairs. But later they told Sharif's father that she had died. And the court heard how the video recorded for Sky. So remember, we watched that video that Batul, Beinas Batul, she spoke, didn't he? He just sat there all sinister next to her. Well, he said that was Beinas's idea after being contacted directly by 2 journalists. The video was filmed by one of Sara's sisters, one of Urfan's sisters, and Beinas wrote the script. And Sharif was asked why he had changed his mind following the confessions he first made to police. He said he'd become suspicious of beinas while they were in Pakistan, and once he learnt the extent of Sara's injuries, he felt sure one of his own children was not capable of causing these. Okay. So that was Friday. So now this week, we're in a new week. The last update on this particular website was Monday, and this was the cross-examination of Urfan. And so now we've got, beinas has got the most evil eyes, I think, out of all of them, personally. You know, I definitely think she bit Sara. I'm sure Urfan did things as well, but they're both equally guilty. Her perhaps even a little bit more guilty, I think. Anyway, her lawyer told the court that Sharif was violent, controlling, and he denied and said he had given a false confession, saying he didn't want anything to suggest Sara was in pain or discomfort. Urfan confirmed he saw marks on Sara. He was told they were caused by the children fighting. He said he saw a scratch to her face, blisters to her feet. She always wore a hijab in the house, he said. He never saw any marks to her neck. Mrs. Carberry, the lawyer, the defence lawyer, played a video from June the 9th, taken by beinas, which shows Sara in the garden playing with her siblings. She is not wearing a hijab and faint marks are visible on her neck. Sharif agreed he could see the marks on Sara, but he denied being in the house. What happened then? So there's quite a few. So to sort of sum it up a little bit, these videos that were played showed marks, you know, they were zoomed into. So whereas Urfan was saying he'd never seen any marks on Sara, you know, they're basically, the defence lawyer for beinas is showing that this is wrong, because she's showing videos where it's clear that Sara has got marks. Marks on her hands, face, faded bruises on her face, neck, hands and wrist area. Then another video, this showing the whole family in the garden having a barbecue. Sara without a hijab again, so she obviously didn't always wear a hijab at home. The third video, some of the children were shown, including Sara, who has a black eye and a very short fringe. And phone data showed that he was near the home address on that date. A close-up image of Sara was shown depicting a scratch on her nose. And then he admitted to seeing that. He didn't mention the black eye because he'd forgotten about it. Because, of course, you forget about a black eye on your child's face, don't you? God, why would you even think about it? Of course you would forget about it easily, wouldn't you? Not. Goodness me. Just disgusting, isn't it? It gets more and more disgusting. He said that it was Batul who had cut Sara's hair, and he didn't understand what problems or issues there were. Then there was another video from 2 weeks before Sara died, and this showed him shaking one of the other children. He denied it, and then the court heard how three previous partners, let's just put his face up. 3 previous partners, 3. Not only Olga, but 3 in total previous partners said that he had been abusive and controlling. Abusive and threatening. He says they were false allegations. And then they at the court heard there was some confusion about how many marriages he had had. 3 official marriages and 1 Islamic marriage. where he was engaged to his cousin in Pakistan while still married to Olga. Good God. Anyway, that goes on and on and on. So there were injuries to the other children as well, a burn mark on one of the other children. He said it was caused accidentally by barbecue tongs. But he said he should have reported it, but he didn't. He had 11 defaulted credit accounts and he owed £17,000 to creditors. What was the other thing? Oh, then when they brought up the fact that he'd stolen £1,700 from McDonald's, he said he needed that money because his grandmother was ill and he had to go and visit her in Islamabad or Pakistan. So that was the reason he stole the money, to go and visit his sick grandmother, according to him. And it was said that he initially denied the theft and he only admitted it months later. And Urfan said, I admit I made a mistake, but I paid it back. Anyway, he told the court he drank alcohol, but he denied getting angry when he was drunk. Loads more sort of crap like that, basically. Now, I just want to show you, what happened. So today it'll be continuing, of course, but I want to show you. Oh, look at her. Look, she looks vicious and nasty. I think she's just as guilty as him. I think they're both guilty. But this is that other thing I was reading, it only went up to Monday. This is the testimony from yesterday. Oh, bless her. She's always got a smile on every photo you see of her. How she managed to put a smile on, I have no idea. So apparently this is what we heard on Monday in court. Sarah Sharif's father was filmed slapping her across the face several times. She is seen holding a baby where little Sarah appears to desperately want to play, saying, come to me. And as he played with the baby, he reached out and slapped Sarah on the face 4 times. But he said it was a joke. The little girl was seen smiling and did not seem to react to the slaps except to say, hey. She already had a mark on her face on one of the places he slapped. A mark that he claimed was caused by beinas. And apparently he smiled as he was watching that video. So Beinash's barrister questioned why he was smiling after watching the video. And she said to him, do you think this is funny? And he said, I haven't seen my daughter for a long time. Crikey. And she said, why did you slap her? And he said, they're not slaps. It was just play. You can see how happy she was. And then he said he had been playing coochie coochie coo, which he claimed was Punjabi for cutie. And she said, you slapped her on the side of the face first. She didn't even flinch because she's so used to it. And he said, no, ma'am, that is not a slap. Yeah, can you imagine what a slap was then in his eyes? She looks like a little angel on this picture. She does look almost saint-like, doesn't she? Bless her. I just hope, please, God, let her just be safe with the angels now. I hope so. I think little Sarah, her little body just gave up that day, didn't it? It was like, just couldn't take any more. She just slipped away. Hope somebody came to get her and just take her away from all that worldly hurt. So basically that's where we are with the case. So it's continuing. There'll be more upsetting testimony, but I think, from just in my opinion, everyone will have their opinions, but in my opinion, what's been made clear so far in this trial is they're both equally guilty. They're both going to blame each other. I think without doubt it was beinas who bit Sara. And I don't understand why she's been allowed to refuse to give dental impressions. She should be made to. And it was probably her who burned Sara with the iron. But then lots of other things that happened to Sara, I think, were done by Urfan. And I think Faisal probably didn't have anything to do with it, to be fair. But I wonder if he knew what was going on. You know, I don't think he's going to get found guilty of anything, personally. But these two, hopefully, are going to be found equally guilty of the murder of this little girl, who for 2 years suffered all that terrible abuse. And you know what, I don't expect I don't know if they're in solitary confinement or if they're in general prison population, but they really, they won't, in prison, people don't look kindly, do they, on people that murder children? Even people who've committed murder themselves, they don't, they look upon child murderers in a different way, don't they? And they will be targeted in prison, I expect. But she'll probably be put in a female prison with other mothers who've murdered their children, because unfortunately there are quite a lot of them, aren't there? Should be put in a prison with other child murderers, as will he. And but you just hope that they're really suffering. I know they haven't been found guilty yet. It's terrible, isn't it, really? Allegedly, I should have been saying allegedly all the way through that. But the thing is, somebody did this to Sara. So it's not really allegedly, is it? Because we know that she definitely had these injuries and she definitely died of these injuries. And he confessed to it himself. The only allegedly really is, who done it? Was it him or was it her? Or was it equally the two of them? One thing I don't believe is that another child did it. So they're trying to blame one of the other children now. Oh my God, how low can you go? Literally, how low can you go that not only, not only are you, blaming each other is one thing, but now bringing the other children into it. And of course, the other children are off safe in Pakistan. Nothing can be, they can't be interviewed. But I'm glad, really, in a way, because why should those children be interviewed over this? It's not them who did it. It's one of those twonks, or both of those twonks. So, well, that's where we are. I mean, I'll be sticking with this case until the verdict, and then for the sentencing, presuming that someone's found guilty of something, how could, do you think the defences have got together and done this deliberately, to think that actually they are still like friendly, and this has been the defence strategy to blame each other, because the more doubt you can create, what they're hoping that nobody will get found guilty. I mean, someone's going to get found guilty, hopefully both of them, but I don't know, so we'll see. British justice, unfortunately, quite often, even if they're found guilty, sentencing's not brilliant, is it? In Britain, it's not long enough. It's never long enough. I don't know. God, what sentence will we get? They're probably, will they, I don't know. Will it get called murder, or will it be manslaughter, or will it be negligence? They probably didn't mean to kill her, but it's almost worse, isn't it? If you strike out in one and kill someone accidentally, but 2 years of abuse, what that girl suffered, that's a torment over 2 years. Imagine what her life was like. Imagine. And then she goes to school. you know, gets those problems at school, and then he gets taken out of school, but it's worse. Anyway, very, very sad. But I'll be following it, of course. I'll be staying with it and let you know as and when there's any developments from the trial. Now tonight, Patrick Stevenson, in the morning, as far as Australia is concerned, Patrick Stevenson is appearing in court, so I'm hoping to get and watch that and report back to what comes up. That has got a 1 hour long session in court, so that will probably be the next video that I do. Okay, what day is it today? It's Wednesday, isn't it? So I'll see you really soon in the next video. Thank you so much for caring about Sarah. Please remember to like. Please remember to like and subscribe. It's completely free. And consider becoming a member. Tomorrow night is Let's Chat Members Live. It's only $1.99 a month. And that really helps to support my channel. So thank you for all of you who are members. All of you have bought me a coffee, sent me a super, or PayPal me. Thank you so much. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Oh, let me just put my out of it. Bye-bye. Hey, baby.